Okay, fourth graders, it's Miss Leon again. As you can see, I have up the map that I had started on earlier today about favorite books. And I listed all these favorite books that I had and some details about those books. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to model for you how I will take those details and I will form a descriptive text. Now, please remember that when you are doing a descriptive text, what that essentially means is that you are describing something, you are telling about it. So we're going to be describing books, favorite books, and all about that. So I'm going to get to a screen where I can use the information that I took from this map and start writing myself a descriptive paragraph. Okay, so you can probably see me in the little screen above, showing my writing journal with some blank pieces of paper, or you can also see that I have up a Google document. Either way, you can use either one of these sources to write a descriptive text. I'm going to choose a Google document to start drafting this descriptive text. All right, kind of the layout for the descriptive paragraph is you will want to start with a topic sentence that's going to tell you, or that's going to say what you are telling or what you are describing. That's the center part of your map. Then you're going to write sentences about each subtopic. So it's the main subtopics. You can kind of add in a little bit of details within that sentence, but you're going to list, within a sentence, one sentence about each different subtopic, and then a concluding sentence to wrap that up. So here are some sentence starters that we can use. And maybe instead of sentence starters too, because this will be different depending on what exactly you're talking about, I think maybe I just might model exactly how I'm going to write this paragraph on my favorite books, because I'm not really sure that sentence starters, as I'm thinking about it more, will be the most beneficial way to do this. All right, when I first start writing, I need to make sure that I push tab one time, and then I begin my writing. And so I'm just going to paste what I wrote. And what I wrote was, in my life, I have read a lot of books, and some of them I didn't like. I didn't like is what I should say, but others I did like, and they really stuck with me. So now I'm going to go back to my map here, and I'm going to maybe list some of these books, and maybe I don't have to, depending on the size of the writing that I want to include, maybe not all of it, but maybe some of it. We'll see how that goes. I am going to look at this, and I've noticed that Where the Red Fern Grows and Shiloh are both books about dogs. But then I see that there's other books that I can kind of lump together that have to do with racial and social issues, like Maniac McGee and Roll of Thunder, but also Number the Stars kind of falls into that category too, about social issues and racial issues. And then I just have one that I Love You Forever. So I'm going to probably, if I'm thinking about this, I'm going to try to group some of those books together in sentences to try to make a really good, strong idea in my sentences. All right, I decided to go with the one book that is unlike all the others, and that is the I Love You Forever. So what I wrote was, there are some books that I just love, telling why, because they make me emotional and think more about about relationships in my life. An example of this would be I Love You Forever by Robert Munsch. I've noticed that I have a typo. All right, now I'm going to move on and think about other books that I have. And I think I'm going to write about the ones about the dogs. So that would be next in how I want to plan and organize this. All right, so my sentence is, I also love the books Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls and Shiloh by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. I'm going to kind of add some details as to why, though. Why do I love those books? I wouldn't be describing why if I just listed the books without giving any details. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so the next sentence says, both of these books are about dogs and the relationships and love they have for their humans. What I really noticed, though, too, I'm glad that I put this next in my paragraph after I Love You Forever, is because this talks about these books with the dogs talking about the relationships. And also I have the I Love You Forever talking about relationships. So those do kind of clump together, but in a different way. So now what I'm going to talk about is the 3 other books that I have listed that really have to do, I noticed, with social justice issues. So I'm going to go ahead and start thinking and crafting about the sentences that I can put together for those 3 books. All right, the first sentence I came up with is there are also other books that I really loved because they dealt with people overcoming extreme difficulties where they had to be brave and persevere. I'm going to start giving the examples now. All right, this idea is kind of long, but here we go. The first book is Maniac Magee by Jerry Spinelli, where there was a lot of misunderstanding and stereotyping of people of different races. An orphaned boy called Maniac made relationships with people from both sides of the town and help others see the good in others, unlike themselves. And I'm going to change this around. Others that were different from themselves. I like that better. Now I'm going to start talking about the next books that I really like. The 2 other books that I love are Number the Stars by Lois Lowry and Roll of Thunder. Hear My Cry by, and I believe it's a lady named Mildred, but I'm going to check. Yes, I was correct. Mildred D. Taylor. All right. Both of these books deal with social justice and deep stereotyping as well. Number the Stars was set during World War II and about 2 girls who were best friends trying to survive the Holocaust. And then I'm going to add my quick information about Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry is about a family that tried to survive and overcome extreme racism against former slaves and African Americans in the South. Now I need to have a conclusion sentence.
After
reading my last sentence, I wanted to go ahead and add more onto this because I didn't think it was quite complete. But it said, and African Americans in the South. And I wanted to be more specific because it was during a period called Reconstruction after the Civil War. So Reconstruction was a period of time after Civil War. So that, and just so you guys have a little context, the Civil War, after the Civil War, the slaves were freed. So there was a lot of turmoil then. But then the concluding sentence I have to this descriptive paragraph about my favorite books is, my favorite books are books that made me think and made me feel something. That is why I will always love them. So this is a long paragraph, but this is also a topic that had a lot of information about it, and I just had a lot. So I needed to make sure that I was describing that and really giving it the respect and the attention that it needs. So with that being said, what I am going to do is I'm going to highlight this text and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my seesaw from previous, brainstorming. You guys did pets. And I'm going to add a page, which is down here. And when I add my page, I am going to, first I'm going to try to paste it. See what happened. Oh, look, I did paste it. And so I'm going to pull that up, and you guys know I do not love this formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix this formatting to something that I think is more fitting to our needs. I'm going to shrink that down a bit so I can read it some more. It's going to have to be shrink down a bit more. This is probably going to happen to you as well. And yeah, that's a lot of text. So I'm going to have to continue shrinking this down and resizing it. And once I do that, look, here's the bubble for this. I'm going to widen it out. That way it will fit on my screen a lot nicer. Now, if you decided that you were going to write this on paper, that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind. No problem. What you will need to do, though, is you will make sure that you take a picture of your paragraph, and then you will need to upload it to this page. So now, after I have written my descriptive paragraph, I'm going to then click submit on that blue check mark. And then Miss Leon will be able to go through, and I will be able to check to see how you are doing when you are practicing your descriptive writing. Good luck, you guys. Sorry this was a long video, but I'm excited to see what you do.